Hello everyone, hope you're all well. I thought I would come on and do a YouTube because no one's heard from me for quite a long time, and lots of people are asking what happened with you and your council tax. Well, I can tell you that I've gone way past council tax a long time ago, and council tax is just the tip of an iceberg, really. And yeah, basically we're way past that. So for the last few years it's been an inward journey, and going in and learning what really is, and the outside world with other people, other companies, corporations, entities being in control is not what is. So I found OPPT, the One People's Public Trust, came along in June of 2016, and OPPT was a public trust led by a trustee called Heather Ann Tucci-Giraffe and Caleb Skinner and Hollis Randall Hilner were the other two trustees, and they used UCC, the Uniform Commercial Code, to file at the UCC Registry Office in Washington DC various filings in 2012 and 2013 to basically close everything down, all your governments, all your banks, which basically governments are banks in a disguise as governments. They're not really governments. Anyway, they're former systems, so they were all closed down. The UCC was used to do that. Very, very briefly, I'm sure anyone who's watched any of my previous videos, who's not a troll, knows a little bit about the birth certificate, the trading that goes on. So you're born, you're weighed, you're worth your weight in gold. That's what the first trade is based on. That's why you're weighed. And then your parents unknowingly run down to the registry office, the government office, and they register your birth. You're given a number at that point. That's then taken off to the Securities and Exchanges Commission in the USA, and then it's traded upon. And there are various accounts, unnumbered, unlimited, every number that you're given: NHS, hospital, passport, driving license, bank accounts, anything you can think of that's issued by a government with a number. Yeah, you got it. It's a bank account, and you are traded on. So in any case, I went through various situations. OPPT came to my attention when I had some problems with a government office in 2016, and I served upon that office what they call a courtesy notice. You can look at a courtesy notice on a blog, which is a archive, if you like, of data, information that's come to light for people awakening to their own consciousness. And that website is called www.i-uv.com. That stands for I and the Universal Value Exchange. So you can go on there and you can search for the Foreclosure Flyer, you can search for the Paradigm Report. Now, there was an investigation that Heather and the other trustees carried out leading up to the filings that they did in 2012 and 2013. Paradigm Report is very interesting, and it gives a lot of data about what happened, the fraud, etc., of birth certificate, banks, etc. And after their findings, they put that to these governments, so-called governments, in a document called the Declaration of Facts, and the UCC number is 2012127914. You can pop that into Google. I'll say it again, UCC 2012127914, dated the 28th of November 2012. That was a document that was put to the particular filing that was put to the governments. It was unrebutted, it remains unrebutted, and everything was closed down. And so there are no former systems anymore. There is no one to run from. There is no one to be scared of. And the keys to unlocking it all was the fact that the former systems were actually you, because your source, your original, everything comes from you, everything is within you, everything is within your own heart. And some people might think this sounds a bit airy-fairy and spiritual, and yeah, it is, because, you know, spiritual just means unseen. And now things are coming to the fore, and much transparency is across the board now, and we're seeing everything. So Trump's taken over in America, and we toned out with Heather in a very memorable conversation on the 20th of December in 2017. And following that tone-in, there was an executive order that came to pass, and that's EO 13818, and it's about stopping human trafficking. It's all finished. So please read that if you're interested to know what happened and how that was stopped, and know that it has stopped. Stop paying energy to it carrying on. If you're still doing that, know that it's finished. Prior to that, some other information in May, June of 2017, some data flowed about there being accounts that were held, so your social security number in America, national insurance number in England, and all the other international equivalents. They were actually accessed by various people. I was one of them, used my PayPal account and added a bank account, which was using a sort code from various sort codes. One was from a private offshore bank, EFG in Jersey. Another one was RBS, Isle of Man. There's loads all dotted about. You can go in and do it yourself. Go on to soooooo.co.uk and type in any of those offshore accounts and type in the digits from your national insurance number, and you will find your account. It's not a fluke. It's not. It works for every single person. It works for every single national insurance number. It's not a con. There was a guy in America, in Tennessee, Randall Bean, and he accessed his account, and he moved, I think it was $31 million, And there was a court case following, and you can read all of this on the i-uv.com blog. Everything's on there. You can go back to 2017, mid-2017 in around about the middle of June, and you can read everything that happened. And basically Heather and Randall went to court. They were charged with wire fraud, and the court went through their performance, and they said that there was wire fraud and that the account numbers weren't real, etc., etc. So ask yourself this: if they weren't real, then how did Randall move $31 million into his check-in, or as we refer to in the UK, current account? So it was pretty much a farce. It made everything visible, that, you know, this talk of straw man, birth certificate trading, everything else, it basically validated it so that everybody could, it was there already, of course, but it made it visible. The light was put on it so that everybody could see, because if we're running a computer system, this is all done online, which Randall did it in that way, then how could he possibly move this amount of money successfully if he'd put a digit in wrong? It's really quite ridiculous. So we know that it was done. So after that, we moved on from that, and basically OPPT did another filing, two filings right near the end in 2013. There was one on the 18th of March 2013, and that was called the Eternal Essence Doc, and one on the 24th of March 2013, and that was I and the UV Exchange. You can look both of those up on iuv.com, and you can read them, and they're energetic documents. They are multi-layered. They as you expand in consciousness, they expand for you, and the data that they hold will resonate with you in different ways, and your consciousness will expand if you allow it to, and you allow flow of the data, and you allow expansion. So basically you are it. These accounts are just physical, because we're so used to thinking that everything is on the outside when actually it's on the inside, and you are capable of manifesting anything, and you are capable of doing it instantaneously if you so wish it, if that's what you feel in your heart, because that's where it is, that's the source. And there's many things that I've manifested in the last few years. So I think I first started toying with council tax, which was a bit of an eye-opener in, was it 2015? Yeah, 2015. So now we're 2019. So it's been a little bit of a long road, and but been worth it to get to this point of consciousness. And so I'm just sharing the data because this is about awareness. There are no authorities anymore. The only authority is you. That's it really, just you. You decide what happens, whatever you pay your energy to, and your thoughts, your imagination is what creates. And when you feel that, and that really comes in your heart, that is when whatever it is that you're desiring will appear. So it seems very complex, people think that they can't make the law of attraction work, but you really can. You've been doing it all along. And conversation I once had with Heather, she said you've been doing this all along, and you're just doing it unconsciously. So when you think, oh, all this crap always happens to me, there's a bogeyman always around the corner, that's because you create that. You're thinking of that. So yes, people are still being fined by police or traffic cameras or this, that and the other, and that's because they're still paying energy to what isn't, because they're still believing that those authorities exist. If you don't believe that, and you have that feeling deep in your heart that resonates with you, then how can anybody possibly fine you? How can anybody even pull you over? How can those entities even be in your spectrum of vision? They can't even be there. So it's very important that this data is given and shared, and everybody comes into awareness. So I would recommend reading the Paradigm Report, the Foreclosure Flyer, and looking at the filings that were done, and looking at the subsequent court case that began in 2017. And there's been many more things that have happened. There have been various indictments. There have been thousands, in fact, in America. There have been literally worldwide hundreds of resignations of people in high positions of power in the former systems, and nothing seems to be working for these old entities anymore. And that's because they don't exist. They've been foreclosed now for 7 years. So with every day that passes in the now, they become weaker and weaker, because in every moment somebody new, a new fractal of source, which is each embodiment on this planet is a fractal of source. Every time one of those fractals wakes and becomes aware and starts to expand, the former systems die again in that embodiment's or individual's field of reality. So that's really what I wanted to say for now, and I really wanted to share that with you, because I haven't shared anything for such a long time, and it's just got to a point where I wanted everybody to know what's going on, and that it's not really about council tax, although it's a good starting point. Yeah, it's a long way away from that. So yeah, take a look at all those links, and I'm sure I'll have some new data to share, and I'll get that out to you as and when I can. Take care.